It's 8 o'clock, and I'm very happy to invite you all to our 25th episode of Marvelous Medicine. Normally talk about medical topics, but today we thought we'll do something different. So the topic is giving back, and I'm very proud to have a bunch of my classmates from MBBS who have done a lot of work for the society, be it philanthropy, charity, or sharing, whatever you want to call it. Arvind has to go back to his clinic, so I will call him first. So Arvind Krishna, he's the clinical associate professor of internal medicine at Northeast Ohio Medical University. He's also the president of Diabetes and Endocrinology Associates of Stark County in Canton, Ohio. He has held several leadership and advocacy positions. Uh, uh, the reason we want to hear him today is because he's the president of Ashwin Engineering Innovations, and believes in advancing philanthropy and helping tech startups align to the mission of the company. So Arvind will be making a short presentation, and his idea is to help anyone who actually wants to take some baby steps towards philanthropy. Joining him is his lovely wife Ritu. Ritu did her MBBS and MD Pediatrics from MGM Medical College Indore, and she's done her residency in both pediatrics and transitional medicine in the US. She's been a lead physician at the Akron Children's Hospital. She's a mentor for medical students, is involved in several hospital projects, and is currently involved in developing a hybrid care model because of the COVID pandemic. She's a certified yoga teacher, and she helps people in grief and hardship. And obviously, she's a big part of what Arvind does as well. So, welcome both of you, Arvind and Ritu. Arvind, would you like to start?
Yes, yes. So thank you very much, Vidya, and thanks to Dr. Radhakrishna and Dr. Ravi Shankar for this wonderful program and giving me and Ritu an opportunity to share our thoughts with all of you. As you said, it's about baby steps, and that's where we are with. It was about 2.5 years ago when our 20-year-old son suddenly passed away. We felt that the high moral, humanitarian, and academic values that Ashwin represented, and which were highlighted by his teachers, friends, coach, professors, were values that would make the world a better place and deserve to be promoted. So this prompted me, someone with very limited resources and knowledge about philanthropy, to learn more from scratch and take a plunge in the field of philanthropy. And our hope today is that we can motivate others to start a philanthropic project as well. It's a long ask questions in between or later on. But I would say, so the giving back, it can be from big things like Gates Foundation down to a small donation. It can be donating money or volunteering time or talent, whatever it is. And there are a few questions which one should ask when we are starting with a philanthropic project. But before that, so I'll just show you a brief glimpse of, if I can share the screen. Is it visible?
Not yet.
This, yeah. Is it? No?
No, no.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go back in here, screen share. Okay. I think, is it visible now?
Yeah, it's coming on.
Okay. So it's the reason I chose this path was that even though it's not a tax advantage approach, but I wanted to be very
Arvind, your net connection seems to be a little unstable. Just check on that. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, but can you hear me at least?
So, yeah, now we can hear you. In between, we lost you.
Okay. Okay, all right. So I wanted to be actively engaged, and I was also very much, interested in the field that my son was interested in technology and startups and so on. So we created this company. Uh, the philanthropy part over here, it says scholarships and awards to deserving students and student athletes who demonstrate leadership skills, humility, dignity, compassion, and a motivation to make a positive impact in the world. So the scholarships that we give and the trophies, it's in Ohio, Michigan, Nagoya, Japan, and other places, and nurturing and supporting bright young minds in science and technology, and contributing to development projects in the local community. A glimpse of the philanthropy page, if it's visible. So for example, we had this Arvind Krishna Viking Scholarship. Viking is the logo of his high school, which was for outstanding academic and extracurricular achievements in appreciation of leadership, compassion, ethics, and humility. And that was what was important. It's not the person who gets the highest marks, but who has those humanistic qualities. Then we established a leadership award ethos in there. And then another one, his coach, the tennis coach, where Ashwin was a part of the Viking tennis team, select in class. So we established a Vikings tennis trophy and award, both for the boys team and the girls team. Ashwin had gone to Nagoya University in Japan, where he did advanced automotive engineering and was very well liked by his professors. And he was like super excited about sharing his experience of Japanese technology and culture and wanted other people to go there. So he couldn't really pursue on his goal to persuade others. So we established a scholarship in that in his name, which promotes people to go to Nagoya University. And in fact, this is the University of Michigan. On their website, they have a page on his scholarship, and also University of Nagoya, Japan has that page over there. Then there's he was a very passionate member of those electric vehicles and hybrid vehicles. And he spent a few years working on that. So this, as you can see, it's in memory of Ashwin Krishna. This is participating in national um, track races. So it helps designing and building innovative automobiles at the universities. And then there are various other charitable institutions and foundations where we contribute. For example, Society of Automotive Engineers, their charitable arm helps students succeed and educators excel and corporations achieve their business goals. This was a society which actually helped Ashwin develop many of his automobile projects. And we felt now Ashwin Engineering Innovations needs to give back in a committed way for a long-term SAE supporter. And then there are different universities in our local area, local state, science and engineering, where we are donating, have a sustaining grant and humanitarian grants, and it goes on. But what I wanted to highlight or mention was a few things. If you are, that's just the inspiration page about him. So if one is deciding or is interested in starting something on giving back, ask yourself a few questions. First of all, why do I wish to give back? What is my true motivation? Because this may be something close to your heart, something that gives you a sense of inner satisfaction and happiness. And your long-term commitment to the cause will be dependent on how keen is your desire to support that cause. And of course, you identify a cause. There are so many causes, you have to be sure. You have to decide how much involvement do you want short-term and long-term in this area. Like for me, I could work on this long-term even when I retire. I mean, I would love to, as it's growing, as the company grows, the philanthropic projects grow, I enjoy, it gives me positivity to be part of such a project. Then there's a checklist you can make. What finances or time that you wish to devote, what experts in the field you want to tap. You might need a financial advisor, a tax consultant. There are different ways of doing giving back. It can be establishing a charitable foundation, a company like ours, endowment grants. And I can answer questions on how to establish those if and when anyone has. I would just say that if you're establishing a scholarship, have a clear criteria. And what we have felt is that we have actually felt really obliged when a deserving candidate applies for our scholarship, Their letters and essays are inspiring and motivating and truly help us as they touch our hearts. So we are giving back, but we are actually getting things in return. I would, then there are, as I mentioned, different ways of giving back. My wife Ritu, even though it's the same family, we have fairly different ways in which we are doing this. I gave you a glimpse of what I'm doing, and Ritu, who's, as you said, is practicing pediatrician, has been learning various levels of meditation and yoga, has become a certified yoga teacher, has done sessions on yoga teacher training at the yoga center, has helped many friends in the US and across the world
Arvind, if you
through
don't mind, we'd like to hear from Ritu herself. If you
yeah,
don't mind.
and so now she will share some of her motivational thoughts about giving back. So Ritu, you can go ahead.
Thank you so much, Arvind, and over to you, Ritu.
You're welcome.
Yeah, hi. Do you see me?
Yes. If you
Okay.
could stop sharing your screen, Arvind, if you don't mind.
Oh yes, okay.
Yes, Ritu, we can see you well now.
Okay, thank you and namaste, everyone. I'm very honored to be here on this platform of marvelous medicine and helping others rise. And thank you for allowing us to share our story. So the fundamental rule of behavior is to give. You can give a gift of words, greeting, smile, appreciation, good news, or whatever you are capable of giving. For in giving, you receive more than you give. I'm going to talk about the subtle, being a student of Sankhya and yoga philosophy. And this is meant as a guidance. Take whatever resonates with you. The subtle can be experienced, even if not seen. It controls the gross, it provides grounding or stability, and it helps you be effective in the longer run. Arvind talked about intention in giving. This is at the core of all giving. The lowest form of intention is pity, followed by sympathy, then empathy, and then the highest form is compassion. Pity is a feeling of discomfort at the distress of another. It has a condescending tone and it is a little less engaged than sympathy. Sympathy is a feeling of concern for another, wishing to see them happier, and it implies some shared similarity with greater personal engagement. Over sympathy, there is empathy, which involves a shared perspective or a shared emotion. And compassion is suffering alongside someone, sharing of emotions with an active desire to alleviate their suffering. Compassion builds on empathy and is the main motivator of altruism. In fact, compassion helps combat emotional fatigue that builds from empathy. Even Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita in chapter 18, Shlok 5, at different stages of life or life circumstances, all actions performed should fall in the category of yagya, dan, or tap, which is translated as sacrifice, charity, and austerity. So yagya is not the ritual of yagya, but it's the devotional and the sacrificial value of yagya. The inner meaning of yagya is performance of duty with renouncing of ego for the welfare of all beings. So the feeling with which you give, the yagya, dan, or tap that you do is important. And in chapter 17 of Bhagavad Gita, the Lord goes on to describe the three types of charity as sattvic, tamasic, and rajasic, which I am not going to go in details. But whatever you prompted you to start the giving process, take your time deciding. There is no reward for speed. If you give it a little pause, a little silence, and you start where you are, you build awareness around you. See what is demanding your attention. Where can your skills be used? Can you do the same work that you are doing, but with a different intention? Adversity is a terrible thing to waste. Does your adversity allow you to have more compassion? Be a better listener. Help lift someone. Now, yesterday, as I was planning for this, your platform inspired me so much that in my inner being, I had a poem that just arose in my antakaran. And it's a very short poem that I would like to share with you. I wrote it last night. The title is Why Give? Give because you can. Give because you are grateful. Give to lift someone. Give to alleviate suffering. Give without grudge. Give non-judgingly. Give to raise consciousness. And give to empower another to be the giver. So thank you for allowing us to share. And if we have Vidya's permission, we will be open to questions, comments, reflections, suggestions. Thank you all.
Okay, absolutely, Ritu. Arvind may have to leave, but we hope that you will stay up to the end to answer questions.
Yeah, I can stay a little while.
Okay.
I can stay. Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us and for this wonderful short talk that you gave. Next up, we have Sanjay and Natasha. Is Natasha around, Sanjay?
So yes, she is around. She's quite busy. Vidya, my daughter got married, just so you guys know, and we still have some house guests. So everything went.
Congratulations and sorry to pull you out.
No worries.
So those of
worries.
you who don't know Sanjay did his MBBS from JIPMER and MD Pediatrics also from JIPMER. He did his DCH from University of Glasgow and then moved on to the US where he did his fellowship in neonatology in Boston, and subsequently he's even done a master's in public health. He's an associate professor of pediatrics at University of Massachusetts Medical School. He's the director of neonatology at both Holy Family Hospital and St. Elizabeth's in Massachusetts. Sanjay and his wife have been really inspired us since we got in touch back over the past few years, and I really wanted to know hear directly from both of them as to what got them into this field of community service, philanthropy, whatever you call it. So Sanjay, over to you.
Thank you, Vidya. I don't have any lightning bolt that stuck us. We need to start doing this. I wish we had it was very organic and how this happened. And I think the desire to give is in all of us. I mean, we chose this profession for a reason, though we were quite young when we chose it, right? I mean, we were like teenagers when we started JIPMER, and it took us a while to absorb what we were becoming, what we were doing. And as we've continued to grow as adults and as human beings, so I mean, all of you guys do wonderful work, and I know we're going to hear from Khaja and Shobha on all the excellent stuff you're doing, and also Arvind and Ritu, wonderful stuff that you guys are doing. So so I've sent a little list, Vidya, to you. Local work, regional work. So, and I'm going to get Natasha so that she can add to this conversation as well. So locally, we live in a town which is one of the suburbs of Boston. And locally, we both involved for some of the things. I've been a youth soccer coach. So I was teaching little kids how to play soccer. Not that I'm a big soccer player or a good soccer player. Manoj, I see, is in the thing, and these guys are awesome soccer players. So, but here, compared to what people here knew, I was better than them. So I was able to teach these little kids some basic skills, and they loved it. And so we participated in that. I coached soccer. Much to the chagrin of my daughter that, here's her dad embarrassing her. But it worked, so that was one of the ways to contribute to our local town. And then, with the former president, all this racism and stuff came to forefront. So we started in our town something called Linfield for Love, in which we participated in the Black Lives Movement and building awareness for diversity, for equality. So there was a lot of things we did, and Natasha especially has been more active. I've been going and helping where I need to, meaning, lifting furniture here to there, getting events ready, and being there at the different booths and stuff. So that was another local thing we've been doing. Then I also am on the board of a dance school which teaches Bharatanatyam to young girls and Kuchipudi and Odissi dance. So on the board, meaning we choose one charity every year and we work for a couple of events and we raise funds for, so we have, Ekal Vidyalaya and is one of the things, and a lot of different things we have helped raise money for. Typically, we raise $10,000 to $20,000, sometimes less, sometimes more for that. Then, I'm a golfer, on my free time. So I've helped run golf tournaments for charity. So these are some of the local things around us we have done. I also, the other thing, I think, as Ritu said, what are our skill sets and what do we help people with? So I can speak Hindi still, and I know a little bit about India. So I was teaching local kids here in a school system. They wanted to learn about India. So for first graders, I've been teaching Hindi for, 10, 15 years. And then I've been teaching about Indian history, Indian culture, non-religious. It's not like a Sunday school with teaching kids ki kya Hinduism kya hai, or what is. So I got better myself in knowing about India when I taught them. So I've been doing that for about 10, 15 years. It's a lot of fun. And then, we also started fostering kids. And I'm going to get Natasha so she can tell you more. But, as a neonatologist, I see this constantly. We think of this US as a land of milk and honey, and that's obviously not true. There's plenty of things to do here, charity-wise, getting involved. So we've had 10 children come through our door that we have taken care of. And, these are kids born to mothers and fathers who are drug addicts or doing something else child abuse-wise. So we give them, we've had kids 4 a.m. drop to our doorstep, here, can you please take care of this child for a few days? And we have. And it's something that there's a need for. Maybe one day this karma will help us in some way, but it's needed. So I'm going to get Natasha as well to come, and she's involved in something known as a Healthy Linfield, where we help people with substance use disorder. We've helped our local town with being healthier. There's an old railway track we're trying to convert to a jogging track and biking track. I've gone to the health board here to improve fluoridation of our water supply. And then we both are members of our local Massachusetts Medical Society, which advocates for health for local people. And then we both volunteer for the vaccination studies, and we both have been giving vaccines, COVID vaccine to people. So these are numerous ways, but I'm going to bring Natasha in, and then Ravi and Vidya, by the way, thank you so much for getting us. And Ravi, you had sent some questions. So I'm going to answer those questions, but we're going to do it jointly. So I'm getting Natasha.
Lovely, lovely. Thank you. Thank you. Sure. Yes, because that's basically what I think will help us understand how, you guys got started, what motivated you guys. Hi, Natasha. How are you?
Oh, she's bringing a chair. Sorry.
Okay, sorry.
So Ravi, you had asked where list of charities. I kind of gave that list. Yeah. When did you get started? It's been over a decade with different things. Once you made your decision to give back, how did you choose the ways? I think that was organic. Where there's a need, there is a way to do this, right? So, I think, did you need specific training? Yes. For fostering kids, we definitely needed specific training, and that's mandated. There's FBI checks, and luckily, we both passed the FBI checks and numerous times. What would you have done differently? I would have said, I wish, as a medical student, I had been involved more in local humanistic things. And to be involved in what happens locally. I think that gives you a larger purpose, grounds you. I think we are in our own little worlds. At least I was when I was in the hostels, and it certainly brings you to help others around you. And I wish we had done this more. Anything else you'd like to share? And so, I'm going to turn it, Natasha certainly can add to or subtract from what I've said. Go ahead.
I got nothing.
So how did you get involved with the efforts in Syria?
Ravi, just one moment. Natasha, we just speak a few words about yourself first, because we introduce the others. I don't have any, I don't have your bio. So could you just say a few words about yourself, and then Ravi will ask you whatever he wants to know.
So Ravi, I sent you a little bit about Natasha. I don't know if you want to share that. Yeah.
Yes. Natasha went to medical school in Canada, although we'd like to claim her as a JIPMERite, because she did come and do some work with us when we were in medical school, and that's when Sanjay and Natasha met. And since then, she's been, she's trained here in the United States at the Boston University Family Medicine Center. She's currently working in addition to what Sanjay just talked about. She's a practitioner in Boston. So thank you. And, like I said, I don't know my Canadian geography very well, but you're from Ontario, right?
Correct.
That's where you went to medical school.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But we've been living in this country since '91.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Long time.
And you're welcome to come to Boston and visit us anytime.
Oh, absolutely. I have you on my list of people.
All of you guys.
Looking at. So yes, once travel starts and, things get back to a little more normal thing. I've been to Boston so many times, but anyway, Natasha, how did you get started on the Syrian war efforts and how, starting to help them? That was very interesting to me.
Well, New Day Syria, we once went to a Rotary Club dinner, invited as guests, and all the proceeds were to support charities in Syria. And they mentioned this one, New Day Syria. And the founder happens to have the same name as one of our daughters, which sort of caught my attention. And she's started this charity out of her garage, basically, and now ships at least 25 shipping containers to Syria. And also now she's added Lebanon and Yemen. And so I basically just go and sort out donations and help load them in the container. It's not skilled work, but that each and every item is cherished by the people who receive it on the other end.
So I've gone there, Ravi, on occasion. There's a lot of medical gear, like crutches, like, beds and all that stuff. As you know, there's the war torn, there's a lot of injuries and there's not that many resources. Each container is the size of a house. And you stuff it from back and you raise, you stuff it all the way to the top and you work backwards from the front. It's a lot of work. And, there are a lot of people who help with this. Natasha does it much more than I do. But yeah.
And people from all backgrounds, all religions, high school students doing community service, Mormon missionaries doing their year of service. So it transcends all religious groups and nationalities and whatnot, just people trying to do something good for others.
Vidya, you had a question or? Yeah.
Yeah, I thought there was something popped up. Vidya, was that you?
No.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So, so Sanjay, I want to go back to something that you had mentioned, which is basically, I hope there are educators, on the line. I was hoping to see Dr. Gitanjali, and people like her, because they are the people who will be able to influence, medical curriculum and other things in India. And the part that you did mention about exposure to these things as a medical student would have been much nicer. I think that's a very important point. As a profession, we are expected to be, much more into helping other people, and being exposed to some sort of charity or community oriented service, which has absolutely nothing, but the reward is just doing the stuff, is something that we did not have in India as part of our medical curriculum. So it is something that is interesting. I don't know if there are other people online who'd like to add to that, but the whole idea behind this episode, when Vidya thought about it, was this process of how all of us at this time, thankfully, whatever Almighty we want to thank for that, are in a position where we can actually start looking outwards and start thinking of other things. And Arvind's initial presentation was very useful, because it's something that's entirely outside our sort of skill set, if you will. I know Ritu talked about using your skill sets, but what Arvind is doing with philanthropy and set up with his son's in his son's memory, that is not really something we as physicians know. So these are all things that are available, and there are resources like Arvind who can help us. So this whole thing is about it. It was the 25th episode, so I really appreciate what people like Vidya and Radhakrishna are doing, because that is giving back as well. They're
Exactly.
helping educate people. They're helping promote different ideas. They're opening up our minds. They're opening up our thoughts. So all of that is giving back. So it doesn't have to be, just in one way. And that's the whole purpose of this. And that's one of the reasons why I really like the diverse ways you guys give back, from fostering kids on the one hand to Syrian war efforts on the other hand. I mean, that to me is like covers a whole gamut of things, and which is really amazing. And at the same time, it makes me really proud to say that not only are you a JIPMERite, you're my classmate as well. So thank you guys.
Thank you, and thank you, Patta, for organizing this, and Vidya and Woody, Ravi rather.
Woody, let's hear from Naveen and Shobha, and then we'll go to questions.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So while Naveen comes on, I just wanted to say that Naveen and Shobha, while others have day jobs and then they, do some charitable work, with Naveen and Shobha, their work is their charity is their work. So it's this very holistic combination of everything. And like Ritu mentioned, they have utilized their skill sets in their giving back efforts. And their main, I'll let Naveen talk about his and Shobha's efforts. And you cannot talk about them separately, because they pretty much seem to, be entwined in everything, professionally, personally, as well as in their charitable efforts. So Naveen, take it away.
Thanks, you guys. But yeah.
So the people who have found Shangri-La, okay, so Fountain of Youth. So
thank you for having us here on this giving back episode, and I appreciate and the others, Arvind Krishna and Sanjay Aurora and the families for the effort, for the work, and for the sacrifice for this. It's more of a mission they have undertaken. And I just want to, first of all, I want to thank God for this, and then I want to thank Shobha for being a part of our life. because right from the day we got married, she's been our driving force. As you know, I speak less, and she speaks a lot. So, so most of the today's session, I thought I'll start a little bit and I'll ask her to share the few words with us. And Ravi, you have given me a list of things.
Yep.
What you'll be questions actually. And
I mean, I just thought that those would be answers to that would be very enlightening to us.
Yes, all the charitable activities which are part of our work. Charitable work. So what we wanted to do, we wanted to create eye health and primary health seeking behavior in the rural community. Because, you know, as you know, rural people, they go after black magic, that magic, this magic, even now. So we want to create an awareness and a healthy seeking behavior in the community. So how do we go to the community? We have to go to the grassroots level, because you just can't catch hold of a person on the road and talk to him. So we thought we'll go to the mandal levels. We just went to the rural areas, backward areas. We adopted mandals. That's in and around our small Madanapalli, and we have appointed local field workers, and we trained them. So workers from that community were selected, and we trained them, and we screened each and every village, each and every house, each and every person in a globe-trotting method. And here, basically, we thought we'll start with the eye, because Shobha is an ophthalmologist and she's a glaucoma consultant. We thought we'll start with the eye care. And we also diverted into non-communicable diseases. And we started giving them awareness talks about the basic health, cleanliness, hygiene, sanitation. And then we entered the school screening. Every school, government school in the mandal has been screened. Every student has been screened, mainly for refractive errors, which normally are missed. And we distributed glasses free of cost to these kids. And those kids which needed further treatment, they were referred to the base hospital, our hospital, for treatment and further care. And we have distributed awareness material to all these kids and these villagers, and we conducted talks. Now we have been doing a lot of eye surgeries, non-paying cataract surgeries. That's a basic thing, and we conduct camps in the villages as well as in the base hospital regularly, and we do free cataract surgeries. And every municipal ward, we have about 35. In the town, we have about 35 wards. Every ward has been screened. Every year we screen them, and everything is done free. And here also we involve the local people, municipal ward. We involve the local people and local councillors for this. And those needing referral, they have to come to the regular base hospital for further workup. And surgical camps, cardiology camps, dermatology, ENT, endocrinology camps are held regularly from doctors coming from CMC Vellore. Vellore is very close to us. It's about 110 kilometers. And they come, and we have a whole day camp. And depending on the need for the each camp, we do free treatment and free surgeries. And as I told you, Shobha has been working in Orbis. Orbis is the traveling INGO and based at Canada, New York. Headquarters is in New York. She's been a teaching faculty since 2007. So she visits all these third world countries and teaches the eye surgeries to the PG registrars and residents in that countries. So mostly she's gone to Africa and all those places, and Southeast Asia. And orthopedics wise, we've been doing a lot of polio surgeries, corrective surgeries in the earlier, and now we have taken some rehabilitation homes, and I attend there and look after those children which needing surgeries, and children which who need orthosis and calipers and all that. And working together, we started in the year 1999. Till then, I've been working as a orthopedic surgeon alone, and she's been in Vizag till then. She joined me in 1999. And main thing is to treat all patients irrespective of their socio-economic background and do justice to the profession. This is what our main aim is. And from 1999 to 2014, we worked and built a platform. For so many years, we were working, and we took up this MLL hospital. I'll show some slides to you.
Yes, please.
Yeah. This is after I finish this. And regarding the obstacles faced, not much of any obstacle which needed us to stop anything like that. The main problem was monetary. We didn't have much money to work on, and we have kids, 2 kids, and because this being a small rural village, we call it, and we never had good schools here, and health concerns. If we had any sickness, we had to go to Vellore or we had to go to Bangalore. And earlier we had problems with the government regarding permissions. You know, as any permission you want, you have to go to the government, and they'll make you run around and bribing them, and that's it. And we have a very good local cooperation with the local MLAs and the politicians here, and human and financial resources we lack a lot, and we never had any special training for this. And because of a Christian faith, and moreover, we both of us, as you all know, I've come from JIPMER and she's come from CMC Vellore. This is the best schools in medical schools in India, and the best post graduation training we had, and we haven't done anything differently. If we had done anything differently, you asked, we haven't done anything differently.
No. Will you do anything different?
Yeah, we haven't.
No,
we won't be doing anything differently. Okay. And changes. So if any changes means, and hospital and the health system management and private
medical in your curriculum, do you want to bring in anything?
Anything. So we want to have a private public partnership. So I just want to show some slides to you.
So before you do that, Naveen, for those who don't know you, I mean, we are all friends, but there are a few others who don't know you.
Yes, yeah. I was just going to say that. Yeah.
So Khaja Naveen is the medical superintendent and consultant orthopedician of MLL Hospital at Madanapalle. He's also runs the trauma center at Siloam Orthopedic Hospital, also in Madanapalle. He did his, like he mentioned, he did his MBBS from JIPMER and training in orthopedics from CMC Vellore. And now they have been serving the population in and around Madanapalle since 1997. Yeah. So, so I'll quickly tell about Shobha as well. Shobha is the director of Siloam Eye Center, and she's also the CEO of MLL Hospital. She did both her training in ophthalmology as well as undergraduate from CMC Vellore. She's also done her hospital administration MBA from BITS Pilani, and we'd like to hear from you as well, Shobha. Go on. Sorry for the interruption.
No, and my apologies. I should have done that at the beginning. But having said that, I also want to say that Shobha is certainly one of our, honorary JIPMER alumnus. She has and is also
it is actually to be here and to be sharing our work with you all. And Yes, Naveen has mentioned most of it. Basically, we were working earlier in Vizag and Visakhapatnam for 2 years, and we really were very claustrophobic there. You know, treating the rich and the mighty, and we thought we just didn't do any justice to the profession that we actually we studied and things like that. And so we both just decided that we need to go to a smaller rural place where our services are more needed. Like we could cater to larger sections of population. So despite for about till 2014 we did a lot of community work, lot of community work. Basically yes, we would have, yes, Naveen already mentioned that. Then in 2014, because of the number of kind of work that we were doing, there's this 110-year-old mission hospital which had closed for about 14 years, and so they requested us to help the church revive this mission hospital. And this used to be one of the kind of hospitals as CMC Velo by those days, but unfortunately, whatever reasons, it did close down. So we'll just show you some slides as to how we renovated this place and where we are now. Just quickly, maybe just a 10
Take your time. Take your time. This whole episode is for knowing about what you're doing.
Yeah, can I share my screen?
So I think you have to use share content.
Yes,
right?
yes, I'll do that. Right.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Perfect.
RK, the sharing screen is enabled, right? Yeah, you can see.
Yes.
You could just go on to your slideshow and then we'll be perfect.
Yeah. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah. Yes, we were talking about this MLL Mission Hospital, and yeah, this is the history. Started in 1911, exclusively for women and children, and then 220 bedded hospital it was. And if you can see, it was it catered to in or around, there was to be floor beds and 10-acre campus and floor beds, and it was really one of those big hospitals other than Velo hospitals. But between 2002 and 2014, there was a real period of lull, in the sense that there were no pay, suddenly some kind of politics, and as things would have it, it just collapsed. Yeah, this has been, I know those days, you can see in 1912 the opening. These are the photographs of the hospital at that time, just sharing, and you can see our Indian people and the English American community out there during that opening out there, and you can see the flag out there too. And we still have this wheelchair since then. We kept it for a museum, and we have records since actually recently somebody came asking for a birth certificate somewhere around 1912, 1914. Even those we have here, that kind of stuff. And we have a visitors book here where Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru and Kamala Nehru, they came here for treatment for Kamala Nehru, for TB sanatorium, for a TB for Kamala Nehru, and Sarojini Devi Naidu. N number of people signed in this visitors book, that kind of history. I'm just showing you what kind of hospital this was before. But then why we decided to take up this particular place when they asked us was that because there was really no facility in town catering credible and quality healthcare. So we thought this kind of Christian institute with the kind of sacrifices of medical missionaries, we said maybe we should give it a try. And despite the fact that it was closed.
Can I just interrupt you for a minute, Shobha? Is the background noise from yours or somebody else?
No, that's Ramzan. Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
No problem. I just wanted to know if it was somebody else, I could mute. That's why.
Yeah.
Carry on. Sorry for the interruption. Yeah.
So this was the time when we actually opened up the hospital on 2014 on 2nd March, and we sort of, this is the one, and this was like, you know, what the challenges we encountered when we said yes was we had a lot of liabilities and we were wondering how to develop the place. And there were actually financial liabilities where there were at least about 1.6 crores of debt the hospital had. No human resources, and then everything, and the bank, you know, the bank details are this. This was the amount that we had in the bank when they asked us to take over the hospital. And we had property tax liabilities, and then we reached out to Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh and they helped us with a waiver. Then PF, there was some issue, so we reached out to them, that also got settled. We had so many issues with some other nursing colleges inside, so we had to get them vacated. We used some political help to get them, you know, so on and so forth. Not just anything to do with clinical kind, but it's just like an administrative kind. And a lot of old equipment that was really a good ones were all sold off earlier. And this was, if you can see, this was the state of the hospital when we walked in. Wards, and these are the theater and the state of the hospital that we walked in. It was like as if, you know, we were walking into Valley of Dead Bones kind. I mean, this seriously, it was so we were really wondering, you know, was it worth it? Then we said, okay, just let's try for about 5 years with whatever little experience we've had in running 2 hospitals in the town. We said, let's settle, and we've built a kind of a rapport with the local people. We are not from here, we are actually, but the town actually welcomed us, and for the last, you know, 1919 to 2014. So the local crowd was really, really supportive of us because of the kind of work that we did, the rural community work that we did in the surrounding areas. So then we just completely renovated few buildings in the 10-acre campus. Many buildings are there, few viable buildings we renovated, whatever we could use for that time. I mean, from water to electricity to drainage, we had to start it with. Then, yes, and then we modified the layouts. So this was what we happened to make the buildings, what I showed you earlier. And this, we sort of converted our theaters and ward rooms, and we sort of saw in about, we sort of worked it out. So resources actually came in, some amount came in from donations from here and there. And so we started off, now we have different departments of now working here with IP, OR services and 24 hours casualty. It's a multi-speciality hospital. Then we had to recruit new staff, and we have to make sure we put in a culture of excellence in working and things like that. We had to put systems in place and you know, change the work culture and everything. You know, I had to open bank accounts for every staff member, things like that, you know, put systems in place. And then we sort of little by little, you know, 2014, now this is 2021, almost 7 years now. So slowly every year we moved on, and we started doing again screening camps in the periphery, like Save a Mother, Save a Child camps, as Naveen just mentioned, municipal wards and villages and everything. You know, every other day we will make use of it. Like if it's a World Diabetes Day or you know, AIDS Day or any day, you know, for glaucoma day or anything, you know, we'll make use of it, and we'll make sure we'll let people know that MLL hospital is again back on its feet and that they could use, because most people in the town are born here. Anybody, you know, you can just in and around the, you know, the chief ministers, all those people are born here. That kind of a place this used to be. So we thought that's how we did. And then we are into basically a primary care, and then we are also into secondary level care. And these are the secondary level care. Now we are at a 100-bedded hospital, and yes, everything, you know, the regular stuff. All this is all very administrative. And we have a network with Vellore, and there's an RDT hospital in Anantapur, which is run by a Spanish organization. So we were with them. Bangalore Baptist Hospital. There is a Korean Korean International Cooperation for Infectious Diseases. We are in tie-up with them for the last 6 years. So we do research with them actually. And so that's there. And then we have Rishi Valley School. We are, you know, we are in tie-up with them. And there is an organization called CMAI in the country. It's called Christian Medical Association. They help us too. And lot of diagnostic services. I talked about but basically we reached out to people in the sense that wherever we could get help from, we managed to, just knock on their doors and get. So that Anantapur RDT, they helped us with an ultrasound and they gave us generator, and every now and then the Spanish organization will do help us. And this is my batch. Yeah. This
Ravindra Kolavanti's sister-in-law, wife sister.
Wife sister. She was my batchmate. Unfortunately, we lost her. So my batch donated in her memory an X-ray machine to us, and so that's where it is. And we do a lot of surgical camps. We every month or second month we have surgical from teams from Vellore coming in, and this is the Korean organization I was talking to you about that we have, and they actually gave us we store the serum that's collected. We are doing a research, and so we have a lot of this kind of microbiology and virology work going on here. And yes, we do organize some workshops also, trying to help people out, that who want to work in smaller places, so that we can encourage them. And we do have a physiotherapy area. This is all our just modified casualties. And recently, hospital now, the government has asked us to help them. Other than the government hospital, MLL hospital is the only hospital that has been given permission in the town to help with the COVID situation. So now we have a 40-bed block. This is our MP, local MP, MLA, MLA, the collector, and blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. So, and then we started off with this, this is a whatever manifold. Now we have 40 beds. Now what we did was, the local, like our staff children, we've used them for the support work in the COVID block. Like they're all, either doing 12th standard, pharmacy, nursing first year, second year. So these are all our support staff for the, because we are short of staff. So we had to use everybody from every, so, and now, especially now, the COVID situation is terrible, like almost like 40 beds, almost some 30 plus patients are there. And we are really hard pressed for staff and time. And anyway, we are, by God's grace, we are moving on. And yes, what we realized was, if you give high quality service and good clinical care and appropriate pricing and tire system and, non-clinical, this is, but still dedication to work, cleanliness, courtesy, and dignity of labor, we will be able. And I want to tell you, 100% of our care, of our expenditure is from the patient care revenue. But the capital expenditure, that is a recurring expenditure, but the capital expenditure is from donations or from elsewhere. But our resources are not that much to cater to the capital expenditure. What we do with the resources is, after utilizing it for the hospital, we use the rest for the our community health care. And yes, so we work on very effective monitoring. I'm very, very finicky. I look at every small thing. And so yes, this is what we do. And yeah, these are, Naveen was talking about, we call in doctors from Vellore and everywhere for every other few months, so that we can have some kind of camps. And yeah, now recently Arogyashri has finished their inspection, so probably this week we will know what Arogyashri is an empanelment scheme with the government, where even poor patients now can come to us, and we will get some kind of a reimbursement from the government. And we are looking at NABH accreditation, and of course we used to have a nice school of nursing, but now because of the situation, we are looking at getting college of nursing. There's a lot of work to do, but we are working on that. We have a lot of issues, but still I think we just like to. So what I wanted to share was, how can we find our place in the marketplace, like in the kind of, with the corporates in the cities and everywhere, and how can we find our place in smaller areas also. So despite we studying in big colleges, we thought we should be able to find our place in smaller places. So we defined a purpose, and then the distinctiveness that we had was the trust and unconditional reliability. And we are giving affordable quality care. And so the hospital motto is called to serve. And so we are here doing that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Shobha. Ravi, Sanjay needs to leave, so if you want to ask him anything, do that now. And
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Sanjay. First of all, yes.
Oh, no,
Thank
thank
you
you.
for staying on. And
Yeah.
any last parting thoughts from you in terms of, if somebody wants to start right now, baby steps, what would be the best thing? I know you had shared some things on how to become a foster parent, and obviously the requirements vary from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, but that I thought was a very useful thing when I read it. It's something that people can consider
Sure.
and figure out how to do. So things like that. I mean, any resources that you could think of?
No, I would say follow Khaja and Shobha's steps. I mean, they are doing phenomenal work. Oh my goodness. Oh, hats off to you guys. So Khaja and Shobha, if you guys need any help, happy to reach out and do that. And maybe that's one of the charities that we can support. I mean, we raise funds every year, so we should do that. So I wonder if you guys are 501c3, which is the tax code here in the US.
Right, I was going to ask.
Yeah. So if you are 501c3, that would be great. It's just one of the things. And there's some correspondence between other countries as well. So if you become IRS certified here in the US, you can potentially do so in UK and Australia as well. And a lot of our batchmates are all over. So maybe Ajoy, I just see on there can
yes
that, but thank you kindly, Vidya and Woody and Patta for inviting us. I apologize, I have to leave in a couple of minutes.
No, we understand. You have patients waiting. So sorry to have kept you. So thank you so much. And obviously, if there are questions that come up later, we will reach out to you, Sanjay, offline and, add it on to the video thing at the end. So thank you once again. Thank you. And
thank you. And God bless all of you guys.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work, guys. Bye.
Bye. So Shobha, before I forget, one thing that I wanted to ask you through all your experience is that have you published your experience? Have you, there are so many journals. There's a journal of hospital management. There's a journal of, so many different things. Have you considered talking about these?
Yes, no, not about the work actually, but we do, I mean, kind of publications in terms of, I told you about the COICID, then we do a lot of, other than the clinical side, this aspect we have not published, and I don't know.
You should consider. No, it's basically the way you presented. It was very beautifully laid out. And, it made very logical sense to follow your thought process. And so just, publishing that would be very, very useful for people, But I also want to say that, with typical modesty, I think both Naveen and Shobha underplayed the amount of effort it must have taken to overcome a lot of the bureaucratic processes. Yeah. And so that's something that I think we all have to be aware of. And that's, it's you can say it's cost of doing business, if you will, but that's something that you really have to have a mindset to be able to deal with. And the other thing that came through Shobha's presentation that was very clear is that, Shobha has been using her MBA training in every aspect. So that also came through very clearly. So, are there any other questions? I mean, obviously, I'm still awestruck. Like Sanjay said, we are just totally, blown away by everything.
If you have any direct question to Arvind, maybe you should put it because he too will have to leave for his clinical work.
Oh, sorry, Arvind as well. So yes, I did have a question, which was basically for you, Arvind, for people like us. Have you by any chance put together a thing of, how do you start? Like, what are the things that you need to have in place? Like, what are the ducks that need to be in a row before you start doing this? Things that you thought, oh my God, oops, I went down this rabbit hole. If I had known this, I would not have done, I would not have wasted time doing that. Things like that. Sort of, how to do this for dummies kind of.
A to-do list and a not to-do list, if you may.
Correct, exactly.
Good one.
You need to unmute yourself, Arvind. You're muted.
Yeah, I think the first
Hi,
thing is
Joy.
to make sure that, as I said, what is the reason you want to give? And once you have that motivation, like Khaja, uh, I mean, you must have had tremendous motivation to continue against all adversities. Once you have that, you will continue. That's one. Then, as I mentioned, tap into resources. A lot of information is available on Google and other places for experts in the field. Get a team formulated. One thing that I did find when you're establishing a scholarship endowment fund, if you can get in touch with a specific person in that institution or university or wherever who understands your sentiments, your thoughts, and is supportive of that. Otherwise, there are people who are just willing to take your money. It doesn't matter. They have big endowment funds, so a small donation would not make a difference. But someone who believes in you and has the power to help establish the fund, that's very useful. That's what we found in Japan. It was very tough to get things to establish a scholarship in a different country and moving money. But there was this one professor, he was so dedicated. He worked with the US universities and helped us set that up. So I think that's one thing I have found. And then you have to figure out whether, like Sanjay was mentioning, if it's a 501c3 trust that you want to formulate. There are companies where if you just put it on, you pay the fee and they will help establish the foundation for you. Remember, it's at least in the US, it's about a 3% rate of return. So whatever money you put in, about a 3% is what you will be able to generate to pay your management fee and the scholarships that you wish to give or donations you wish to give. So accordingly, you decide. So those are the things. I mean, there's a lot of intricacies in how to establish these things, but if you have the motivation, all the problems, you can overcome them.
Thanks. I just had a quick question related to what you just said. How did you choose Japan? Like, what was the motivation to think of Japan rather than any other country?
Oh, yeah. So that was, as I mentioned, my son, he had done an automotive engineering high advanced course in Japan at University of Nagoya. And not only that, when he came back, he was trying to convince everyone from his students to his hairdresser to his neighbors that it's a great place, the technology and the course. And then he left. So we thought that we want to continue his mission, that if he felt so great about that country and the technology and the culture, that whatever we can do, we would like to promote kids to be able to utilize that. And there's a program, it's the University of Nagoya Advanced University Program, where they select kids from around the world. And so for the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, we promoted them, that those who are selected, some of them we can promote. That's the reason. It gives us happiness.
Thank you.
So,
Of course.
we have Dr. Nalini with us, who has done a phenomenal job in similar, which runs with the theme of today's Giving Back. Ma'am, would you like to share how you thought of starting the Hemophilia Society, and briefly, I mean, how did you go about doing it, and what helped you reach the stage you have today?
Thank you, Vidya. I thought I would leave by now. Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Well, I started this work about 25, 30 years ago when I was in JIPMER, when hardly any facility was available for treating these bleeding disorders. I used to treat children earlier with leukemia and all that. Then gradually these bleeding disorders started coming to me. We had only basic investigations and some plasma to treat. Then I thought I should somehow develop this. So I went and convinced pathology people to start a coagulation workup. So for which they were sent to CMC. I got collaborated with the Hemophilia Federation of India, from which we could get medicines. And we also got people trained to treat these patients. It is only because these patients had no chance of any treatment or diagnosis. They used to just come and beg. The mothers used to bring these children and used to cry the amount of problems they had. So I developed an empathy for these patients. I thought I should do something for them. And so I started it off. And then it went on and on. Then I had a few patients. We started a society. Then we started getting medicines through JIPMER because the cost is so phenomenal. Nobody can afford, especially our patients who are lower socioeconomic group. Then this, in addition to the routine work I used to do, I used to look after these patients. Then gradually, I went to the chief minister and got a building for us. And then we have grown. After that, I have 300 patients now. We are getting factor free. We are supplying, in fact, to JIPMER. JIPMER is not buying much factor. We are supplying to JIPMER. Government General Hospital also has got factor. We also support them. And then we also support the boys with scholarship for studying. We are getting scholarships for them to study, and also for the women's group. We have a women's group because whose children are hemophiliacs. So they suffer a lot. So we also help them out. They also have we also do some psychological support. We have a social worker for that. We have a physiotherapist who helps us. In fact, in JIPMER also, physiotherapist has been trained. So we have been growing, and to give confidence to the youth who have grown now. So otherwise it becomes difficult for them. So we have a youth group who counsel each other about their illness. And that's how we have been going on for the last 25, 30 years. I've done whatever I could in a small way. It is purely a voluntary organization which is run with donations. In fact, some of our students are regularly donating money for this. I'm thankful to them for that. And then I also am a main donor. So we are able to run an organization for these people. In fact, I would like to tell you, I am the only doctor still in Pondicherry working for hemophilia. Nobody else is taken up. I've tried so many people, but I've not been successful to get anybody else to come and join me and do the work. I still continue doing it. And whatever I can do till my life, I would do it for these people and for the benefit of these people. I know everybody by name. I know the whole family history. I know the entire family tree. How many people are affected, how many people have been treated, all those, what deformities they have, everything I know. So far as I can do, I have not done what so many others have done, like Sanjay Aurora has done, then Naveen and the group have been doing. But I have done whatever I could in a small way to bring up these patients. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity. Thank you, Vidya.
Okay. For those of you who don't know, Dr. Nalini is a retired professor of pediatrics from JIPMER Pondicherry, and she runs the Hemophilia Society in Pondicherry. So we have so many friends that we forget that others won't know about us.
Yeah, exactly.
Any questions to Ritu? Any questions to Ritu? Either Ravi or anyone else. The forum is now open for discussion. Please feel free to ask any questions you want.
Now, Vidya, if I can come in for a
Sure, absolutely.
Of course.
It's a mesmerizing event.
Oh.
I feel I feel the sense of pride to be classmates to such wonderful people. And really, all three of them are doing work in different spheres which suits them. And it's also very, very heartening to know that, most of us do. Most JIPMERites have this tendency to help others, do some service. But a lot of us will think of philanthropy at the end of our careers when, we slow down in our clinical work. But then Naveen and Sanjay and Arvind have done it while they're active. And, kudos to Naveen and Shova that they've made a career of the whole thing. And, they could have very well stayed in a cosmopolitan city like you and me and enjoyed the fruit. But then, this is a wonderful, wonderful thing. And Ajay is very much here, and I hear from so many people whom he's seen. I mean, I think the amount of work is done in official and unofficial capacities is unimaginable. I want Ajay to say a few words before we proceed further.
So over to you, Ajay. Thanks for joining. He's straight off the sets of a TV program.
Thanks, Vidya. Thanks, Radha. After a vociferous and what you call bristly debate. But first of all, Naveen and Shobha, seriously, and Sanjay and Arvind, I mean, Arvind's story and all, and Sanjay and Naveen and Shobha, I get zapped because from a political perspective or a social perspective, you do it, maybe it's, but to do the kind of God's work you do, and seriously speaking, there's no other definition to describe what you guys are doing. And Professor Nalini also, I mean, in fact, it's amazing to see what the kind of work all four of you are. Very blessed to be, honestly, a classmate of all of you guys, and to being not a very good student of Professor Nalini, because, but seriously, wonderful. And I just keep saying that there is something which, and Radha correctly pointed out that as you see lesser years ahead of you than what was behind you, you tend to reevaluate what you're doing in life. And Naveen and Shobha and Arvind to Nalini, Professor Nalini, and all you guys did it much before that. I believe that we are in a situation where at least a lot of our classmates are reasonably well placed, most of them. And very often, we cannot change this world. We cannot fix the COVID problem in India, or we cannot change all the cancer. But we can make a small start in what we believe is a good idea. And so whether it's Radha, Vidya, and all of us together, I think as classmates and a very active group, if we set up something which we can sustain it, like what Arvind has done for a longer perspective, and it's not a humongous amount of money, I guess. It's it's some kind of so that it lives beyond us, beyond the JIPMER batch of the A and the B batch, and we are blessed because we are A and B batch. I see Manoj Karmakar trying to keep his eyes open before I go. Hi, Manoj. But important part, I think, is Vidya, seriously, all of us, in what way we can do, where we can start, somebody like Shobha or and Naveen, what they're doing is, whichever idea we pick up as a group, or Hemophilia Society, whatever we think is a good idea to support. And it doesn't have to be a huge amount of funding, because I see that we can't change the world. But even if we help a single kid, we help a single family, we help through some kind of a initiative as a batch, I think, we'll just leave something behind in terms of it. So there's something of food for thought for all of us. We are a reasonably large batch. The other aspect is, since I happen to be in the political space, anything I can do for Professor Nalini, I believe we can do some work for all of these things, even Naveen and all that, in whatever little way. Love to take support in any kind of way, whether it's Tata Foundation or because I'm from Jamshedpur, rather, so the Tatas are where they were from Jamshedpur. I was with Tata Sons with Mr. Tata for 5 years as his executive officer. So anything we can do, but most important, I think, is I'm totally zapped by what you guys are doing, honestly speaking. I mean, we do it on our own way, but day in and day out for you guys to get up in the morning and do that for the people is, it's seriously, all of you are, you put politicians to shame.
Yeah, if I can take it from there for a little while, Vidya, I think
I was about to ask you to talk about the small thing that we are trying to start here.
Now here, I think it's because unfortunate that Arul Selvi, our classmate, is not so well to come on screen. She's been doing UMN service.
I know.
In a rural center for over 20 years, helping the poor, and doing surgeries in places where it's not feasible. And his heart is wholly with the poor and the needy. And actually, recently, Vidya, myself, and Arul, when we were together, we thought of an idea, and then it's Arul's idea of starting as what Ajay is just mentioning. We started an organization called Dadati, which is in Sanskrit giving back. And I think that's the thing which sparked the idea and Vidya of bringing this program in, of giving back. And Arul has done quite a bit of work in that direction. And we sort of found a society has been registered. And actually this Monday, the auditor has to come with PAN number, TAN number. I think auditor has got COVID and he was sick, and Arul also is not doing very well, and she's doing very well. But then I should mention here that we are thinking on those lines, and we'll be working once this COVID is over, because then we can have a reach. We chosen 3 villages. Is very, very accustomed to, and she is she's seen children 0 to 5 with no education, no school, no good food and all that, and we plan to do something for that, working for the health of young mothers and also adults, and help build a school and help with books. And then of course the idea here again is that to involve Chennai JIPMERites. We have over 200 JIPMERites in Chennai. You find them in every hospital of significance in Chennai. It is one of them, and every specialty. So we started working there, that we thought that the needy children and the needy adults should get medical attention, and we've done some plans, and in due course of time we'll come up much more openly with our objectives. Vidya.
So with a small intervention, you remember Margaret Topno?
Yes. I reached out to her as well, but she hasn't joined in. I was hoping she would join in as well, because her initiative, many of us participated, however small way, but many of us participated in her initiative.
And so I come from
Jharkhand, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's happened is she set up a very wonderful setup. It's not fancy, but she went back to to her hometown. I mean, to whole actually not even a town. It's a very small place in Jharkhand. And she raised a reasonable amount of fund, like everybody else, on keto and all that, But I'm just saying that rather, why should it be Chennai? If it's 3 villages and Arul's work, we should expand it to at least.
Yeah, precisely.
Because,
yes.
Yeah, we can't boil the ocean. But even if we do some good work in these 3 villages, I think we have done at least some part of giving back. So I totally with you. Just once you let us know.
I think we'll make it a pan.
Absolutely, a pan thing.
We'll do that.
Actually, for organizational reasons, we just wanted to start small, so we thought we'll start, local, and then once it is on its legs, then obviously for expanding we will need, everybody's help. And in fact, the final castle in the air is to probably actually have a hospital that is run by contributions, and both monetary as well as skill contribution by JIPMER. That's a castle in the air. But in the beginning, we just want to start like how Naveen and Shobha started. We want to start with the community service, health and wellness, and screening camps, and referring patients. Because so many of us are in Chennai in so many hospitals, we may be able to provide help when somebody needs the surgery or things like that. So we are trying to do what Naveen and Shobha did 20 years ago or 15 years ago, and then hopefully we can do maybe faster, because more people will be involved. We may be able to get to Naveen and Shobha's stage maybe in 10 years time or whatever.
and learn, and hopefully they'll be able to help us learn,
they are
right?
always there.
Yes.
And Luke as young as both of them.
Yes, of course. That I don't think will happen to us. But having not all of us are fortunate. Vidya maybe, RK maybe, but not all of us. And of course you, Ajay. But coming back to the topic, small steps that we're talking about. Dr. Nalla and I have been having a sidebar conversation. It doesn't have to be an organized way of giving back, So he has been sharing with me how he's been working with children with special needs, and how he's, helping them out with his services. It doesn't have to be an organized, 503B and any of those tax exempt things. So Dr. Nalla, could you just share your experience with the group?
You have to unmute, Nalla.
Yeah, you have to unmute yourself.
Unmute.
Yeah. Hi, Vidya, and it's lovely to be again back on the group, and it's it's good. It's the right topic, how to give back. When I was listening to all of you, everybody has been looking at where we've been sending charities and looking at lower socioeconomic groups, starting at the village roots, grassroots. I just wanted to just emphasize that being in a private hospital, even in a profit organization, you can do a lot. I have a son who's a cerebral palsy child who's on a wheelchair. And in the last 15 years, since I worked in my organization, I started looking forward at how to help these children. So as an anesthesia service, I just wanted to let you all know that special needs children need a lot of procedures, orthopedic, MRI, dental, surgeries, and multiple things. So when it comes to all this, and majority of them may not be affordable to pay for it, even in a city like Dubai. So we may not have organizations which may support it. So when I could speak to my chairman, and then I could put this point towards him, he was always very much helpful and forward that let's not charge them at all. So we were doing free of cost treatment for all special needs children, right from autism to cerebral palsy, surgeries. You won't believe the number of dental general anesthesias I've given for cerebral palsy children. It's a huge number. They have a huge number of problems, even the auditory testing, multiple level of things. And many of them, even in Dubai, come from a lower socioeconomic group. We do have special organizations here, like special need organizations in Dubai that do try to approach. All of them just give me a call and say, Dr. Nalla, please take care of this child. And that's it. And the child is in the office, in my hospital the next day. Then I just do whatever I can. And then the parent says, I can't pay for it. And I just tell my chairman, I just write it on the name. If this is a special need child, it has to be, the bill is waived off. So what I'm trying to say, it's not always that chairman is only the philanthropist on the larger picture. You can add to it even in a profit organization, provided you can give that concept to that person, and it makes a huge impact. And I've been doing this for 15 years now, so I just thought I will share this part of it, because special need children are very, 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 they are the gifts of God. And I'm very sorry to say, even in India, I've took my son to Bangalore, I've been to Delhi for Indraprastha Apollo. I find there's a lot of humility, and they are not given the due share of what they need. So I think that more of charity should go even towards to see how we can look at the special need children. So I think philanthropy should go more towards, yeah, I do understand a normal child and starvation, and there are so many things, but special need children should be also given the due share to be taken care by the philanthropist. That was one of my points, and I do my part diligently, whatever I can from my side, and I've been doing it in Dubai. So I think that's what I want to share. It's not that even in a private hospital you cannot do it. You can do it if you can just force it a little bit and let your profit, your chairman and your administration to understand you can do it.
So Nalla,
So
to start with, those who are on fee for case can just not take their fee. That will set the ball rolling. If
Right.
as an anesthetist you don't charge fee for that child, the next time your surgeon will probably say that, okay, I will also not charge, and then it just builds momentum, and then the organization can take it up from there, I guess.
Right, and I think the other point to be made is advocacy for these special groups is actually another way of giving back. And Sanjay did talk about it a little bit through their medical society. They do advocacy, so that's another aspect that many of us are probably doing it very subconsciously and unconsciously, but it is another way of giving back.
Thank you.
if anyone else wants to ask any question or give any comments, because Ritu also has to leave. So if you have any questions for Ritu, if not, I'll ask Ritu to give her, sort of closing comments, because really get to hear about exactly what she was doing. She just, got us all on board by to understand even how even a small smile or a gesture or anything can be giving back. It doesn't have to be millions of dollars of Melinda and Gates Foundation or whatever. Oh,
Yes, I just want to thank everybody, and they were all very inspiring stories, and I think it'll just resonate with me for a long, long time, and I'll think about it, and it'll definitely inspire me to do things more and maybe open myself to some other possibilities. I think I definitely resonate Dr. Nalla's feelings, that we can start exactly where we are. And I don't know if I got to talk to you much about this, but I was not that much interested in yoga, pranayama, and all that. I mean, I did it, but I did not do it spiritually before. But now that I do, I know how much it can help. So I am a pediatrician, and I promote children love with apps and technology. There are lots of apps that you can get on your cell phone to do meditation, breathing, and trying to calm the mind down. So I explore those and I use them in my practice. I also reach out to people that are grieving, and I usually do it by call for action. So people call me and they'll say, so and so lost her husband to pancreatic cancer and she's in the throes of grief. Can you help her with yoga, meditation, or pranayam? And so I just go wherever it's needed. I have a dear friend that lost her husband to COVID, and I have conducted virtual yoga sessions for her. She's in India. I'm also part of Humanities in Medicine, what I think Dr. Sanjay was talking about, that he wished that as a medical student, he had more experience of that. So our hospital, I think somebody said about you can be part of a profit organization, but you can still promote what your intention is. So I'm part of Humanities in Medicine, and we do workshops where we give prompts to the people in the workshop, which are basically your nurses, nurse practitioners, doctors. And we read that excerpt and then we talk about what we take from it. And then we get a 15-minute of time and we are given a prompt to write something and discuss that. So we are trying to promote that more, to be able to see our patient as more than just a patient, as whoever they are, whatever their relationship is to their family members, and see them as a person. I think what Dr. Nalla is talking about, not just see them as a handicapped patient, but to see what they are truly, a gift of God. Every person is a gift of God. So yeah, and I'm also part of something called Patient Experience, to improve patients' experience when they come to the doctors and to the hospitals. Because I think when we are so talented, we may become spiritual or knowledge high horses. we forget to be at their level. We give from a place of giving. We always give, and it's hard to be at the receiving end. It takes tremendous amount of adversity, and those of you who have faced it, I'm sure everybody has gone through adversity, and it's not my judgment to say whose adversity is more. But when you face adversity and you are at the receiving end, you realize so many things you did wrong when you gave. And that is all okay. It's okay to be that. We did the best we could at that time. But now, from the light of this new knowledge, can we use that and be a better giver? So that's all I want to say. And anyone can reach me through Vidya and through Arvind. If you ever feel I can offer anything for anyone that's in a difficult situation, I love to help people when they are having a really hard time, because I feel that's my passion. And I don't know where my path is taking me, so I don't have big goals yet. But I think when you're on that spiritual path, the path just unfolds for you, and you just automatically step on it, even if it is a temporary stop. It's going to detour you, reroute you, and you're going to follow that path. And a lot of people, I don't mean to bring up religion, but in our Sankhya philosophy and in our yoga philosophy, you have evolution, and then you have involution when you go back towards God. And that's not it. You adopt that quality in your chitta, in your antakaran, and then you come out with that quality. And with that quality, you serve the world. So all of you are doing so much, and it's very inspiring. But please do not take it as if you are not doing enough. You are doing what you can where you are, and nobody could do what you are doing, each one of you. I could not do what Nala is doing. I could not do what Shobha is doing or Sanjay is doing, but I'm doing what I can do. And that's the gift that God gave me. So thank you so much. I will just wait a little if anybody has any questions or anything they want to say before I go.
Thanks a lot, Ritu. Any other questions or comments?
So, Vidya, there's one thing that
Right.
I wanted to ask all these people, which that would take a whole discussion in itself, is how do they manage their time? I mean, time is so finite, and yet all these people are managing so many different things so beautifully. I mean, how do you do that? And that's something that, you know, always is a very interesting point. Maybe it's a topic for another discussion, Vidya.
Yeah. Punendu, you want to say something?
Yeah, well, firstly, amazing work. I don't want to repeat that, spellbound. I want everybody to, if they get a time, see a movie called Pay It Forward. I don't know how many of you have seen Pay It Forward. The first, when it started, I was driving a car and listening. I couldn't watch the screen. And I remember the first slide, which started off by saying, first ask yourself, why do you want to give? Many of you, when you people were there, when I was in JIPMER, I lost my father when I was third year. And I kind of I never let anybody else know. I went through a very rough patch. And that day I had taken a promise that I will do something for people who have lost their father. I formed a trust 11 years back. And I work in Sundarban. Everybody looks at Sundarban and they think Sundarban is to go, and people talk about Save the Tiger. There are thousands of tiger victim widows because these men go inside Sundarban to catch fish and crabs, and they're attacked by tigers and they lose their life. And these widows are left with their children, nobody to take care of them. I have adopted 750 widows and about 1,000 children. And we are working for last 11 years over there. In fact, there was a time when I thought, Vidya, I will be asking, remember I asked to know the contacts. How would I be able to appeal to the JIPMERites? Because if any one of you ever see some of the pictures, when these kids see their father's body after attack by tigers, headless, limbless, and it brought tears in my eyes. So for last 11 years, I've been working with whatever I get from my hospital. I have a small hospital called Genesis. And now what we have done is we have thought that if we can't stop these children from doing the same thing, education is lacking. So unless we educate these kids inside Sundarban, because there's no industry, they grow up, they go inside the forest and the same thing repeats. It's exactly the same way their father died, they die again with a tiger attack. So we are starting a school in a place called Kultoli. We have got the land, the constructions have started. I would request if anybody feels like, go into a website. It's GECT, that's my trust, Genesis Educational and Charitable Trust. It's www.gect.co, and they can see all the work that I'm doing. And each one of us should give back to society. I didn't want to say about everything that I am doing, because we are all doing. And the reason I thought I will bring it up, because I was so mesmerized by what Khaja Naveen is doing so nicely. It was told by Arvind and Ritu, the work So I thought, since someday I will need help, and after seeing what Vidya is planning to do, because in my hospital, several times I have tried to ask the politicians to form a fund. When I get a patient after surgery, they are not able to pay the bill. Surprisingly, just because it's a private hospital, nobody comes out and does any fundraising for poor people who come to the hospital. So fantastic thinking, Patta, Radhakrishna, and Vidya. Ajay should be doing a little more. And many times, Ajay, I do ring Ajay, and it's lovely talking. But I thought at some stage, make an appeal by putting my website, not or our website, the kind of work you should. Whenever we say Sundarban, people think of lovely Royal Bengal tiger, but there are thousands of widows who are finding extremely difficult to survive over there. Thank you very much. Sorry for taking such a long time. But it's nice to know that every JIPMERite is trying to give back to society. Thank you very much.
Vidya, can I just make a thing? This 501c3 status that Sanjay talked about, it's actually much more than just being a tax exempt status here in the United States. For people like me, if I contribute anything more than $25, my employer will match that fund dollar for dollar. So yeah, I remember I knew that. We did that for we did that for Margaret Topno's hospital. So whatever I contributed, Merck was able to match. So similarly, if all of you do that, so anything like anybody from a corporate setup here in the United States can double their contribution by just doing that.
Actually, over here in India, we have got the 80G, which is the people who make the contribution, they get tax exemption in the country. We need to make the FCRA, which is called Foreign Currency Remittance Account. And Google also does this, that if you appeal to Google, and if you have got these exemption certificates, and if you show that if I am donating or from my own end, this much amount for a project for building a school, Google will put the same amount also. So this is what I heard from one of my friend who works in Google. But yes, we should all unite to give back to society. But I am enjoying a lot seeing, because it's impossible to get Ajay on the phone. Now I can see Ajay's face for such a long time on the screen.
After me.
What?
I issued him a whip today.
I would love to be on all the talk. Hey, first of all, Punendu, I know.
Call back.
Vidya, you're fortunate you can issue a bid.
Yeah, Vidya, I will give Punendu Roy a call immediately after the Zoom call.
Pankaj, you just joined in. Did you want to say something? Pankaj Mehta?
Yeah, no, I was just saying you're fortunate that you can issue a whip to Ajay. Not many people can do that. But
that's the advantage of being his classmate. So we have special. No, I was going to say that we have special insight, special connections to Ajoy. So we can also say that we are some of the few people in the world that he actually calls personally to wish us on our birthdays. So, you know.
All of you are so dear to me. And seriously, I mean, I think what Vidya, you and what Radha are doing is, and as a group, Ravi, you guys are doing, now that I've been bitten by this Zoom bug of you guys, I think I'll make sure I get onto it more often, and I promise to call Dr. Punendu Roy after this call.
Vidya, I would like to know that what was the whip, because then I will use that when
it was a pun on the word. I was talking about parliament. I wasn't talking about violence.
no, but having said all this, I think whenever a JIPMERite writes to Ajay or gets across to him, he always replies. I appreciate that a lot.
Absolutely.
And
Did you know
I mean, I
that
loved
have
it.
to
He came to meet my
I
dad
rang him by
once.
mistake.
But phenomenal.
Sorry,
I
there are
mean,
two people talking.
Punendu, what you guys are doing is 7,500 children. I mean, those numbers itself are
No,
mind-boggling.
1,000 children. 1,000 children, 750 widows.
Wow. Wow. Amazing. Amazing.
I know now I can't bring you. I'll have to send a letter to you. As everybody says, you only reply to letters, not to phone calls.
No, he's promised to call you, Purnendu. So are there any other questions? I'm sorry.
Vidya, Jyoti or Venki may say something. If they
That's
want
what.
to
That's what. I'm just trying
please.
to get Venkat and Jyoti to say something.
Yeah, Venkat and Jyoti.
Venkat, you have to unmute.
I was really shocked to listen to all these things what you people are doing. I always want to be part of this, but where to start and how to start is a question. Because okay, so it's really very inspiring and very motivating, and the stuff which you're doing really as my wife always had this plan to do something, but with our lives, with the family, like our children are still young. We got married late and then we had children late. So there's still one of my son is still doing school finals and my daughter's in her MBBS final year now. So probably once we always think that, okay, once our commitments are, but you people are really, you are doing both. You're looking after families, you're doing your regular job. And Ravi asked the right question. How do you manage your time? I'm sure that I'm just thinking when this was going on, there is still plenty of time. That is just to be give excuses, probably thinking that we can't do. But actually, if we start doing it, we can do. There is so that's really something that opened up my eyes. And the one thing I want to say is, in whatever way you want me to do, I'm ready to do, really. I know Arul has started something, and really I want to do. I have already joined that organized that group, that WhatsApp group, and I just want to give, really, whatever way I can to the society, because I'm saying the society, the community, like the whole, they have given us so much for what we are today. And really, it's our turn to do something now. We make a living by what we get, but what we make a life by what we give, that is really something we have to do. Anyway, thanks very much, Radha, Patta, Vidya, and Ravi for organizing this. And thanks all of you. Really, you have inspired me. Thank you very much.
Jyoti, a few words from you. You can unmute yourself.
Good evening, everybody. I was really enjoying seeing all you people talk about so much good things being done. I do meet Dr. Nalini and always think that she's really dedicated to the Hemophilia Society. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to talk. I really enjoyed my evening. Bye. Good night.
So, Dasan, would you like to say something? You've been there right from the beginning.
Hello.
Yeah.
See, my giving back started 40 years back. You might be wondering what I've been doing during my MBBS days. I started in 1981 when Dr. Puri used to go to village service. I used to assist him as a compounder. We used to give medicines. He used to write the medicines and I used to give the medicines as a pharmacist. 1981 when we are doing pathology. That's when I started going for the village service. At present, I am doing service in 4 villages, free medical service. We treat about 150 to 200 patients per week. And we give all medicines. And I don't go for any donations and nobody knows about it. Even our Pondicherry JIPMERs don't know about it. I just go about my own personal income I give. I go, as soon as I finish my MBBS, I decided that 10% of my income will be for social service. That I decided, and I am keeping a separate account for that. So what I will do is I will go to the village, give them the medicines, and then whatever help they want, they can be given, and then we come back. This is about all Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. We do 4 medical camps. Because of these, see, everybody will be asking how to, as a single man, how to conduct a medical camp. It's very easy, because what the village people desire, want is just an anti-helminthic, iron supplementation, BCT, A&D, some for scabies, some BB lotion, some cough syrup, simple things. We don't require any costly medicines. If you go into the basics, actually, that's what we want. And now that's what the government is doing now. See, I started giving Hetrazan and anti-helminthic for patients from 1981 onwards. I mean, I saw Puri giving. After that, from 1986, I started continuing that same villages and other villages. The thing is, now the government is giving Hetrazan, that is diethyl carbamazine, then albendazole for as a regular thing. So it's very easy to run medical camps. Apart from this is regarding the medical services. See, somebody was telling about in a private hospital how to give free medical treatment. I am having a hospital with 35 bedded beds. So what I do is, if anybody is declaring themselves to be poor, they don't pay anything. They just give their name. We treat them. They just sign and go. Like that, about 100 to 150 patients are being treated every year. We keep a separate account for that. Then, apart from the medical service, I have got a social service team, because all my staff, I have dedicated some work. So in the social service, there is educational, non-educational. Educational, we go to the villages. The village students are very intelligent. Only thing is they lack the proper guidance. So what I do is take the teachers to the village. Maths, science, English, and yes, maths, science, English. These things they lack, because these are the core areas. If you can clear their doubts, they get more marks. So these villages, I ask for them. We enumerate the students, and then we give free education. And on top of it, if they won't come for education, so they have to be invited for any fine arts activities. So every week, 50 students are giving free fine arts like veena, drawing, harmonium, this keyboard, and Bharatanatyam. I have got teachers, I pay them separately. They go and collect the students and give them this fine arts training, because this added with the education, the students will come to you. Then there are 1 or 2 poor people whom I give yearly fees to school. They are very poor. So I don't give them cash, because sometimes the father can take up the money and then go for boozing and other things. So you should not give them cash. You ask them to tell the school name. You give a check in the school's name for that kid. They will enroll the children's name there, give the bill, and then for 1 year, they won't disturb the child. So like that, 1 or 2 children are being sponsored for education. Then as somebody was telling about yoga and other things, irrespective of religion, see, we celebrate Diwali, we celebrate Christmas, we celebrate Ramzan also. We tell them, because there is no difference between different religions. And now I am starting going to different villages and clubbing villages, because we cannot go to each village. Teachers are sparse to get. So 4 or 5 villages you club, start a social service center there, and then collect the students there, and then give them education as well as fine arts. So this is what is happening. And I am continuing as much as I can do to the, anybody who comes for a request. Now, and another thing I forgot. See, we don't give food free. See, what we find out, locate the orphans or elderly people who are left out by their children. Like that we have collected, and it is called as Nitya Narayana Seva. That is, every day 75 packets of food are given free of cost. We arrange with a catering man. He gives us the food, and there is a team which goes and distributes throughout Pondicherry for poor people who are in need of food. And this is done daily, because there is no point in giving them weekly Sunday food. The remaining days they will go begging, and it will be difficult for them. So we have selected such people, and every day about 75 packets of food is being given. Unfortunately, now the lockdown has come, so that lockdown period we cannot go because the police questioning and other things will be there. Otherwise, other days we are going, and afternoon one packet of food will be given to them. This is what I'm doing.
Awesome, Shivadas, that's amazing. Really, really, I echo Purnendu's clapping. It's really fantastic. And I just wanted to say that your 10% of your income reminded me of the thing called the TIT. The Catholic Church used to collect that. 10% of the income of everybody's income would go as a tax, so that it would support, church-related activities. This is a very beautiful way of, utilizing a concept like that and giving back to the community. That's really phenomenal, and I really applaud you. And Shivadasan, your lack of publicity about this is really not very good. You should publicize it more, not just so that all of us can know about it, but also, there'll be more people who'll be able to help you. You might be able to reach a bigger group of people.
Actually, Sri Kumar used to accompany me to the village when he was studying, when we were studying in the JIPMER. He used to come with me, Sri Kumar, when during college days.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
Unless you dedicate the amount, the thing is always you will be shortage of fund. Whatever earning you do, you'll be always planning for something else. So you make a promise that this is God's money. 10% of my income I will give to poor people or somebody, some social activities. Then automatically your conscience pricks. So you take that money, keep it alone separately. Then you will always have some fund left in there so that you can serving. Otherwise, what happens is every month you will have some program for expenditure and you will not have money for these things. So 10% you always keep it. Definitely you will have enough money to do all these activities.
So that was a great tip for
really
anyone
phenomenal.
who will maybe subsequently watch this video on YouTube, though our audience has shrunk now. So, but we will be posting the videos on Learning Gen Surgery and various JIPMER groups, and it will be permanently available on the Learning Gen Surgery YouTube channel. So this is something simple. Like we were, conservative families, we were taught that, you should save 20% of your income for your old age. So this is something akin to that. In the sense, you put it away right away. As soon as you get the money, you put it away. Only then it's available. It's not for what is left over, but you keep that 10% away and then use the leftover for the other work.
Exactly.
For your expenses. So Lata is actually Lata, you're still the president of Alumni Association, right? Lata, you're there? Okay, so anyway, we've had the president of JIPMER Alumni Association listening to all this. So I'm sure when we...
Pankaj wants to say something, Pankaj.
Lata is still there. I don't know. Maybe she's on mute.
Pankaj, did you want to say something?
I was just saying something we suggested. See, I realize that everybody is doing something or the other, whatever their work schedule and finances allow. Now, I've been actually looking at the Rotary movement, and I realized that every city has got 30-40 clubs of Rotary International. Everybody tries to do his own stuff, and they all do decent jobs, but it does not make a major impact because it's all fragmented. I mean, we have the advantage of being a big chip community. Why don't we form one sort of a trust fund so that all of us can put into that and we can support, maybe expand ourselves? I mean, I'm just looking at the Rotary International model to say that, okay, JIPMER can make a similar model. When I suggested in Coimbatore that all clubs get together, do at least one project every year, I was opposed because, see, everybody needs some sort of recognition. Who will get the points? Who will get the press coverage? I mean, that's the question. Finally, that's where Rotary ends, in India at least. That's what I realize. And I'm sort of disillusioned with that. I've been associated with Rotary for the last 15 years. But we don't make an impact because I'm giving some school books, somebody else is making a toilet, somebody else. We need to do something which makes a difference, visible difference. And I think JIPMER is not a large enough community. If somebody's got the experience in organizing a fund of this sorts, with a lot of people contributing to it, I'm sure we can support people like Dr. Purendu, Sadashivan, and I don't know, I'm sorry I joined late. I missed out Sanjay Aurora. That's what I wanted to listen to actually. But I
we will share
Mr.
the recording with
Ravi.
you, not to worry.
So, I mean, this is just an idea, and I think if we can think on it, we can take it forward. Just my 2 cents.
Yeah. That's what Radhakrishna and Selvi are trying. Is that we start. We just start it, and then we get everyone on board eventually once we have something to show for it.
And Vidya, just one, just to what Pankaj says, and to go ahead, there are lots of JIPMERites like Arul, Naveen, Shobha, Punendu. I think, when you expand this, then we can support the JIPMERites to do what they're doing, So it's a cool, and whatever it is, Nalla is doing, and all of, whichever way I think we can decide on. And he's right, we can expand the group, and all of JIPMERites will be a huge force to, of good, I guess.
So I think what Vidya was trying to say is that the ultimate idea of Dadati is very similar to the thing in the in Aurobindo, ashram thing, where it's a spiral. So a spiral has no end. It starts, but it can encompass the whole world. So that's the whole idea, and that's how you start. I mean, it's a small step. As everybody today has said, you start with baby steps and then you keep expanding it. And I think, Arul, Vidya, and RK are on the right path. And I, for one, am really looking forward to working with the group and seeing how we can, contribute. I have listened to all of the things that Arul has planned and has been doing for all these many years. It's really unfortunate that she wasn't here to share her experiences, but it is completely, it's totally inspiring. So stay tuned. I'm sure you'll hear more about, when Dadati is fully formed, how you can be involved with it.
So, RK, your final words and. Is that your mic that's making noise?
Taking from where Ravi Shankar has left it, I think everybody is thinking on the same lines that we all have to join hands and do something strong. And Ajay is very right that JIPMER is a very strong force to reckon with. And together, if we all contribute our might in a very little way, I think it become a big ocean. And we should be doing it shortly. And we will be through this medium, we'll keep updating the JIPMER fraternity from time to time. Vidya is a wonderful evening and really, really inspiring, I should say. And I think we're all charged up and so nice to hear Sivadasan's work, Purnan's work. They're all silent killers, actually. They're doing tremendous work without our knowing that they're doing such, really,
traditionally,
amazing.
It is said that the left hand should not know what the right hand is doing. So they're actually practicing that.
Fantastic. Fantastic, Shivdasan, Punendu, everybody should work.
Thank you, everybody. Next week we are going to be on a slight bit of a ego trip, if you will. So we've
Wet is just appeared fresh from I don't know somewhere.
What is
the ego? I was always here. I was listening to everything. Yeah.
Please complete.
He didn't want to expose his good looks, so he was.
I was just watching Ajay all the time. Yeah,
everybody must be going to the parlor.
Except you and me, Nalla. Except the two of us.
Form a political party and get rid of Modi.
COVID time, no parlors. Yes, but
No, I think just wrap it up. Let's not.
Okay, fine. No, I thought you wanted to say something funny.
No. I just wanted to say that I'm here. I was listening all the time.
Okay, so I will. So what I wanted to say was maybe something that RK pushed me into, and we started this marvelous medicine in October. And now it's almost 6 months, and we've completed 25 episodes. So Nalla feels that we should pause and sort of celebrate it. So next week is. We are going to try and get all the people who spoke through all these episodes, all the speakers and the moderators, and everyone together, so that we want to thank everyone for being part of this journey, because like a completely unknown entity, we are not a registered body, nobody's getting CME points for attending our meetings or anything like that. There's no quid pro quo, nobody's promoting themselves, but still they are all coming. So we just wanted to thank everyone from the bottom of our hearts, and of course those who log in to listen. It's going to be kind of a party, so you're all invited.
And Vidya, can I say it's not an ego trip? It's a nostalgia trip. That's all.
Vidya, Radhakrishna.
Vidya, one thing, one thing. See, once I cross the river and I stand in front of God, God says, I have given you good education, I have given you a family. What did you do for my people? And what should I say? That's what always haunts me. What do you do for my children? What do you do for my country? Yeah, for the world. So that's what keeps me haunting always. And that's every day, at least 10 times I remember that. And that keeps us going actually.
Wow.
Vidya, on that note, we should stop. That's important for us to think about.
I have to say something, 1 minute. Yeah, we've been talking about other people giving back. I think we should thank Vidya and Radhakrishna for giving back so much all these years.
Exactly. Absolutely.
So on that note, good night, everybody. Stay safe. COVID is raging, so no partying. Stay home and take care. Good night.
And be good.
Be good.
Yeah.
Good night. Good night.
And if you can't be good, be careful. Bye.
Good night, guys. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, guys.